What's up, everybody, and welcome to another Seven Figure Photographer Live. I'm excited to be here with you today. Obviously, it's Monday, and I don't know if you guys care about the weather in Idaho. I always tell you about it, but I don't know that you care. I hope you guys had a great week. I hope that you guys got a chance to check out ChatGPT if you're not already using it. And I hope you took the opportunity to create some of your own ChatGPTs and just really take the opportunity to utilize it and the amazing things it can do for you. So I know I don't want the world to just rely totally on ChatGPT, but I think that it's a really powerful feature that can help you kind of just propel your mind forward, especially for many of us who are creatives that are struggling with some of those things and kind of just to kind of get moving forward as far as that goes. I'm trying to make sure all my stuff is set here right. I don't know if it is though, but I'm excited for today, and I hope you guys are too. We've got a great topic that we're going to be talking about: easy automation for photographers, revealing some free versus paid programs that can help you with automation. I really want to help you see that automation is everywhere in our daily life. We use it constantly. I don't care who you are, you use it on a regular basis. And we're going to kind of break that down today and help you understand why it's necessary in your life and why you can use it. It's not as big and scary as you might think. So before we do that, of course, we are going to do a quick introduction, and then we will be back.
What's up, guys? For those of you who don't know me, my name is Sam Marvin, and I have been in the photography industry for 25 plus years. While I love being a creative, business is my passion, and elevating the industry of photography is my focus. I created the Seven Figure Photographer to share my journey to seven figures and help others find their way too.
That's amazing.
All right. Well, that was fun. Apparently, I didn't have my mic on to start, and so that was a good start to the day. But real quick, just kind of going back through the introduction. I kind of really just touched base on a little bit of last week with ChatGPT. I hope you guys have tested it out, gotten a chance to see what you think of it, and just try it out a little bit. I certainly don't want to encourage people to think that I want automation or AI to take over the world, but I think that it's a great resource to just kind of propel your mind forward and help you kind of just give you a kickstart on certain things. I know that it's helped me greatly. I hope you guys have gotten a chance to set up some custom GPTs or customize your GPT, but that's kind of what I said in the beginning. Ultimately, today our topic is about easy automation for photographers. And I'm going to reveal some amazing tools, and I'm going to show you how to use those tools, some free options as well as some paid options. And I'm also I really want to kind of just dispel the myth that automation is too challenging for you or whatever. It's not. You use it every day in your life, and that's what we're going to talk about today and how you can use it more. So ultimately, for those of you who have joined from the link that we send out or anything like that, please make sure to comment. Let me know who's here hanging out with us or watching. I always like to see who's here, and make sure in order to comment on the chat, if you notice on your app it says open app, that means that you have to actually sign into YouTube to be able to comment and post in there. Welcome, Jamie. Good to see you. It's always good to see Jamie Ellis. And so just make sure that you go into the app to be able to comment. And I'm going to give you guys a chance to ask some questions. But if you do have questions, make sure to ask those questions right there in the chat section, because I will be paying attention to them as much as I can and responding to your questions as I can. So I will definitely go through all of them no matter what and make sure that I get them answered if I can. So today we're talking about easy automation for photographers, and really, I want to just first and foremost dispel the myths that automation is hard. It is not hard. It can be very technical. It can be very hard. I spent the majority of my week last week building out a very expansive automation that honestly is probably going to save me about $30,000 a year. And so that can get crazy. But basic automation, you already use it. And I think that I can help you understand how you can use it more in your business. And so that's what we're going to go over. But first and foremost, the most important aspect or most important thing to understand about automation is it comes in two parts. It relies on data, but there's always a trigger and there's always an action. And I want you to understand how simple this is really just by explaining that you use an automation every single day. Now, this is kind of it's almost kind of like the difference between the analog clock, the clock that has the hands and you have to read it, which I have on my watch and I still can't read the time on it very well. Welcome, Michael. And so it's kind of like the difference between analog versus digital, like the old school cameras versus the new school cameras, like mirrorless versus mirrored, that kind of thing. And the automation I'm talking about is just a light switch in your house or in your studio or whatever. The idea is that light switch is the trigger. If it's facing up, typically the lights are on, and the lights coming on are the action. Okay, so if you flip the switch up, that's the trigger. The action is that the lights come on. Now, what you have to have for that to work is electricity, and that is kind of the data aspect. And so as long as you have data, you can create an automation. And so it's really as simple as a light switch. And that's really, like, if you guys just really kind of dumb it down, that is the easiest way to give you a concept of what an automation is. Now, here's in the world that we live in, kind of gives you a little bit of a better understanding. Most CRMs that people have, like 17 Hats, or if you have Leads Pro or Tave or Pixify, those all have automations, but most of those automations are based on the program itself. Now there's inside automations, which obviously 17 Hats has lots of automations. Automations as simple as workflows that send out emails. That's an automation. Emails are probably one of the biggest automation capable things out there. You can dive in deep on emails and you can do a lot. But most CRMs have obviously customer retention management. So they have your contact information or your lead information. Now, one thing that drives me absolutely bonkers is I get that information in my lead or in my CRM. But then when I want to call a client, I have to go into that app and pull up their number and copy and paste it, or click on depending upon the app or the program, I might have to click on a button in order to be able to call my client. If I know who the client is, I like to be able to just open up my phone or tell Siri to call so-and-so. Hopefully she doesn't call anybody on me right now. And so a simple automation that I have built for actually a lot of people and for myself is that in most of the CRMs I've ever had, I create an automation that takes that contact and adds it to my Google contacts, which most people do have Google. And then it appears right on my phone. So I don't have to search that information. I just know that I can find that person in my phone based on that simple automation. I'm going to try to keep them all really simple for you, but we're going to talk about a little bit of complexity in automations as well. Now, another good example of a trigger versus an action and an automation, Google has a ton of built-in automation, like an absolute ton of it. And it goes as simple as something like a Google Sheets or an Excel spreadsheet. In Excel spreadsheets or Google Sheets, you have what are called functions or formulas. I'm sorry, not functions, formulas. And so if something is, which is basically your trigger, let's say if a cell is filled, then it will show this or whatever. And that's kind of like Google Sheets. I use it a lot for automations, just basically updating information for like dashboards and that kind of stuff. So you can use stuff as simple as when a new sheet or a new row in Google Sheets is added or a new document is added to your Google Drive, like it can do certain things. And a lot of those things can be automated right inside those programs as a free option. So something to keep in mind. Now, the second part of this is I really want to talk about the importance of automation in your business. And I think that, like I said, you're already using it in an insane amount that you probably just don't realize. Most programs built are based on automations. They're all just built out for you. You don't see them running in the background. But the idea behind it is that when you understand or you recognize a need, the question that you should ask is, can I automate this? Like, can I do this without having to come in here and do it? And like I said, email is one of those things that we do the most of because, it's just kind of built on automation. Obviously, the trigger is if you hit the send button and it has the data in the to field, then it will send the email. So like I said, you can reduce a lot of your manual tasks in your business by using automation, and email is one of those big ones. This is probably one of the most common ones that a lot of you use. Most of your CRMs have some sort of email capability that when something is done, say for instance, you schedule an appointment, it automatically sends out an email. If you aren't doing this already in your business, it's one of the most, I can't say it's the most simple, but it's one of the most basic concepts that you should really get on board with, and just creating a system for how, when you schedule an appointment, the information they get. So like automating the reminders, appointment reminders. And you may not think about it, but like all those things are just automations that people have built. So when you schedule an appointment with the eye doctor and you get a text message saying, hey, your appointment's been confirmed, or a reminder email, that's all just based on automation. And so being able to automate some of those simple things in your business, like email, your lead management, like how often you follow up with them, can be automated. Just like think of some of the simplest things. And if you have questions like, can this be automated? Message me in the chat and I'll tell you like how it can be automated, because I think that sometimes people just don't think about the fact that, okay, like it drives me nuts that I have to do this. Can it be automated? Can I do it? One of the things that I try to do is I try to come up with something every single day. When I come into work, I want to come up with one thing that I could do to make my job easier, to automate a task in my business. And, it's kind of the 1% rule. If I can make one thing automated every day, then it just buys me time. And ultimately, that's kind of what I want to talk about is the studies that have been done about, and we're going to use email as an example. Interestingly enough, we spend, and this is a general based on a study, but we spend 23% of our work life. So 23% of, we're just going to base that on 8 hours a day, which is 1.82 or 2 hours a day, checking our email or sending emails or those kinds of things. What if you could reduce that down to significantly less? How much time do you spend just going through your email to eliminate the noise, the garbage, the stuff that you get in there that is just absolutely a pain in the butt? It takes so much time. Now I'm going to take you a little bit further because I want you to understand the absolute incredible amount of time we spend on such a menial task. And yes, that communication aspect is really important in our lives, but if we spend 23% of our workday on emails or something to do with emails, that means that, well, first of all, the study shows that people check their email 11 times per hour. And believe it or not, some of the studies about how our minds work, and how when we have to shift, the whole concept of being a multitasker is actually complete farce. Like people have, or it's been proven that our minds can't actually do two things at the same time. Like our mind has to shift from one thing to the next. Obviously, there's some things that we do out of just kind of muscle memory, but our mind can't actually accomplish two tasks at once. And so the study says that every time that we change tasks, it takes our mind 11 minutes to actually get back into what we were doing. So if we're checking our email 11 times per hour, imagine how inefficient or really kind of, what would be the word for it? Distracted we are. And that's just with email. Can you even imagine social media? Like, I can tell you this much, like I'll get a message in social media and just check it, and then I get stuck just scrolling on something. I'm like, what the heck am I doing? Okay, back to our numbers. So 23% equals 2 hours a day. That means that out of a week, we're spending 14 hours just checking our email, responding to messages, 14 hours a week. That equates to 728 hours a year. And guys, if you do the math on that, that's 18.2 weeks out of a 52-week year that we're spending just on checking email. How much does email really do for your business? Does it make you, I mean, yeah, it can make you a lot of money if you do it right, but is it really a good use of your time? So let's just say for fun, I'm going to do some math, and I'm not going to do it in my head because I always screw that up. Let's just say for fun, $50, or let's do more realistic, $75 an hour to run your studio. That is your cost of doing business per hour. On most photographers, most in-home studios are right around that $65 to $85 an hour range. So we're just going to kind of split it in the middle. $75 an hour times 728 hours. That's $54,600 of wasted time. And I know it doesn't, like, in your mind, it doesn't equate that way. In your life, you're like, I'm not spending $54,000. Well, the reality is you're wasting that much time. Your opportunity cost is significant. So think that through, because that's how much you need automation in your business. So 18 weeks of your year is literally just spent in email. So can you automate your email? And surprisingly, like, there are great ways to automate this to where you can actually train ChatGPT to go through your email. Most email programs have filtering systems and ways that you can clean up a lot of that. So guys, if you can automate some of that, like for instance, you can go in and create a rule in your email that just says, hey, if this says receipt, file it in this folder. If this is has like numbers or a sales, like whatever, you can get more into that. Like with ChatGPT, you can actually have it summarize the email and then create folders. So you can actually say, okay, well, I'm just going to skim through this. And it just makes it that much more efficient so that you can look at those things. You can even have ChatGPT respond to emails and create a draft that you can ultimately go through, look at the drafts, make sure that it says what you want it to say, and then hit send. The idea here, guys, is that if you can eliminate a large portion of that time that you waste in email, you're going to save yourself a lot of time every year. Now, I want to talk about a couple of different free options for automation. And the first one that I'm going to talk about, and I know that many of you kind of like are afraid of new programs and stuff like that, but consider Trello is one of the best free programs that I personally love using Trello. I try to make it just my focus every morning to the first thing I do when I get to work. I open up my Trello and I look through my to-do list. Now there's a lot of studies about to-do lists and all that stuff, but one of the coolest things about Trello is that you can automate large aspects of it in the free program. And so Trello is a great source for workflows because of the way it sets up. And I'm going to actually jump in. I'm going to show you some automations here in a second in Trello. But basically, if you want to work out workflows, now you guys most of you have seen my customer journey. And really, if you take the different steps of your customer journey, you can actually build out step by step what the different things are, and you can create client cards and just move them from one step to the next. And it just gives you a visual capability of seeing things. Now you can take it a step further and you can automate a lot of those things. For instance, I automate like when a card is moved to completed, it just removes it or it archives it from my list. That's a simple automation that you can do. That's just a single step. Again, we have a trigger when it moves. We have an action, or when it moves to this, the action is that it is archived. And the data is which card it is or which list it's in. The next one I want to talk about is Zapier or Zapier. There's a lot of people pronounce it differently. You can actually utilize Zapier for free. I don't have a link but it is a zapier.com. I'm not giving you any sort of like affiliate link or anything like that. Go check it out. Sign up for a free account. And Zapier, I'm going to show you here in a little bit how to create a Zap to automate a lot of things. It is a free account. You can make 5 Zaps or 5 automations in Zapier. But they can only be 1 tier deep, meaning you can only have a trigger and an action. Whereas when you pay for Zapier, you can actually get trigger and multiple actions. And I'll show you a little bit of that in a bit. Now, Canva has a lot of great resources, like they're just kind of automating some of their design based on their magic or their AI concepts. And so that's like, I don't use a ton of automation in Canva, but I use a lot of like built out templates that are already set up that just kind of are a manual automation or a manual system of my process or workflow that helps move things forward. So for instance, you may use Photoshop to create templates for social media posts and stuff like that. And that's great. You can use those. It's just a little bit harder to use to go through and do all that. Whereas in Canva, it's just a much simpler, easier way to do it. You can do it on your phone and you can create the templates and it's easy to do. Let me see where I was at here. So that's Trello, Zapier, Canva. Of course, Leads Pro. Leads Pro is one of your paid options. Now, Leads Pro you can't use without paid. It's my software, but the automation capability in it is insane, and it's already included. You don't have to pay for additional programs. You can, if you want to get kind of more robust with some of your automations, if you need to take them outside of Leads Pro, but that's just kind of to give you some ideas. Now, another free one that is honestly amazing is the Shortcuts app in your iPhone, if you have an iPhone. For those of you who don't, I apologize. And I'm sure there's an option out there for Google or Android users. I just don't know what it is. But the Shortcuts app is a free app in your iPhone. It uses stuff like proximity and what your GPS shows on your phone. So for instance, I can make the trigger if my iPhone is within 5 minutes of a location, turn on a light in my house. So or I can turn on my Nest thermostat and increase the temperature at a specific time of the day. So that's my trigger, is at this time, do this action. Again, the data is the data that's built in or what you are choosing to adjust for that. So that's kind of the idea. Now, Canva or Trello, you can get more in depth with some of the automations. And I think just more fields, I believe, for like maybe $25 or $50 a month. Again, you can use Trello for free, and you can get pretty much everything that you need to do for free in Trello. So until you've reached the maximum capabilities of what you need to do in there, don't pay for it. Get it for free. Zapier, again, 5 free zaps, up to 100 tasks. That means that if I create a zap and it runs one time, that's one task. Canva, again, you can get it for free. They have a $14 Pro option, which I use, and it's honestly amazing. But you don't need that, and you can do pretty much everything else. It just takes a little bit more time to use Canva without it. Leads Pro is $97 a month, but it can honestly save you, if I can't save you at least $100 a month on other programs just by using Leads Pro, then maybe I'll give you $100. Try me. The shortcuts on iPhone, again, is just free. So those are kind of those options. Those are your free versus paid automation programs. And so those are all good to know. Now, we're going to jump in, and I'm going to show you some real life demos of some of these things. Like, for instance, let me see if I got my Apple TV set up in here. So the first one we're going to jump into, we are going to look at Trello. So let me jump over here into Trello, and I'm going to enlarge this. And let's see here. Let's go to, I know you guys are not in there yet, so let me share that over and open up my screen so that you can see my picture. And let's go to that side. Okay, so this is Trello. And as you can see, you have like, let's go to the client workflow. I think this one's just a template. Okay, here we go. So you can actually use this. I don't use this as much right now for my workflows as I do other like Leads Pro, because in Leads Pro, we do have kind of a similar situation. It's called opportunities. But basically, we have this, and these tabs, or these are basically like what you would use in a CRM as a tag. And so you can get some idea of certain things. Now, you can automate when a card is moved. You can have it set an automation. And this is all included in your free version. But up here in this top corner, as you can see, it says automation. And that's basically where we're going to start. So we go into automation and we go into rules. We can actually do email reports. We can send feedback. We can do buttons and rules. Now, the buttons are basically like if I have a card here and I want to create a button right there, the button just does something specific. So this is more of a manual option, whereas the automation, we just create a rule. And the rule is, and basically what you're going to see is if we create an automation, we select a trigger. Okay, so remember, I told you it's the data, you select a trigger, and you select an action. And almost all automations, and the reason I'm trying to give you this information and make it simple is so you understand that automation is really kind of basic across all platforms. So what we're going to do is we're just going to look through these automation triggers because it has some basic ones. You can actually switch it over to the basic, but I prefer the advanced. And basically what it does is when a card is, you can select here in the list name or whatever, or when a card is added to and created in, emailed into, moved into, we're going to go added to, and the board is going to, or this is by somebody. So then we can actually choose, okay, which one of these really fit what I need. And this one is when a card is added to a list name. So for instance, if we go when a card is added to the studio tour, that is our trigger. And so it says right here, here's our trigger. And then what do we want it to do? We want to add a label to it. Or we want to let's add a member to it. And so this is like if you have a team that you're working with, or even like a virtual assistant, then you could add a member to it, or maybe you want to add a checklist to it. So for instance, a lot of cards will have a lot of information on them, and you don't necessarily want all of that information in your face right away. And so you can add checklists at different times. I'm going to go just as simple as a member. And so we're going to add a member by username. We'll put Michelle K. Marvin. She's going to get this and be like, what in the world? So that's as easy, that's as simple as this automation is. You can actually add another action in here. We could actually add, say, for instance, add, remove a label. So let's go add the label call. Let's go walk in. Okay. And so now it's going to do these two things. So if we save this and we come over here into the this automation, as you can see, this senior here, she doesn't have any labels that represent the walk-in. And if you look at the card, there are no members listed on this card. And so nobody is specifically responsible. But as I move it over here to Studio Tour, you'll see this will pop up with a picture on here. So there's Michelle's picture, and it added walk-in right there. So that's like how simple an automation can be. So Michelle was just notified that she was added to a card, and this label was added to it. Now, you can get crazy on this. You can even move this card to another Trello. You can mark it as done. You can, all these different things. I'm going to move this back here and I'm going to remove Michelle from the card, and I'm going to remove that label. Let's actually go into it, and we're just going to uncheck that one. Okay, so I've returned it back to where it's supposed to be. So that is Trello, and that's really how simple it is to create an automation. Now, what are some great things that you could do for this? Creating just a like a basic workflow for how you deal with your leads. When a lead comes in, you can have it create a card. Typically, you're going to need something like Zapier for this, and that's a perfect example that we could use. For instance, let's just do this since Zapier is the next thing that I wanted to show you. Let's jump over here to our Google, and we're going to come over to, well, I thought I had Zapier open. So we're going to go to Zapier dashboard. Now, we can actually create a Zap in here, up to 5 Zaps for free. And so again, here's the same exact thing, a trigger and an action. In the trigger, it's going to ask us for the data. And so if we want to add a data for like Leads Pro, we're going to come in here and we're just going to say, this one is pipeline stage changed. That's fine. We can use that one. When it's so now, one of the things is each app is going to have a different trigger list and a different action list. So for instance, if I go into Lead Connector here as the actions, you'll see that we have more options in here under the actions list, and that'll cover most everything in there. So for instance, we're going to actually make this action. We're going to change the event to Trello. Okay. And then what we're going to do is when a pipeline stage changed in Lead Connector, we're going to create a card. Okay. And so what we've got to do is we got to come in here and we actually have to choose the account. We're going to go Samuel Martin Photography. We're going to hit continue, and we're going to say in pipeline, let's see, pipeline stage changed. We're going to go new leads and move to stage form submitted. and continue. So that means that anytime somebody submits a form on my website, it will move them into that stage. And we test the trigger by hitting test trigger, and it gives us the information from that card over here in Leads Pro. So if I come over here to opportunities, you can see that in the new leads, we have Angela Askew right there. Okay. Sorry, Angela Askew, for giving out your information. Just kidding. And then basically what we're going to do is we are going to take that. We're going to continue with selected record, and we're going to create a card in Trello. We're going to select the board that we want, and we're going to use SMP. Let's see here. Let's find all of our SMP customer. Where did it go? Marketing systems, to-do list. Well, it's in there somewhere, but I'm not sure which one it is. We'll just go SMP board, and you'll see what I'm talking about. This is going to add it to the wrong spot, but that's all right. We're going to actually, we'll put it in waiting for client. And then the name is, this is our data. So we're going to put the first name here. And this is just the data that it's pulling from this response. And we're going to put it, we can put a description in there. Again, we can use the data from over here, but we're not going to really use anything in the description. One of the downfalls to Zapier is when it updates the description, it wipes out anything that's already in the description. We can add custom labels. So for instance, we'll add green just for fun. And then we can hopefully get rid of that. There we go, hit the X. And then we can come down here and change, we can add a member to it. So we'll add me to it. And you can add a file attachment. You can add checklist names, checklist items, and continue. And then we're going to test the step. And if we come over here to our Trello and we go to recent boards, no, not SMP marketing. It's going to be under Samuel Martin photography. And we're going to go to SMP board. And you'll notice that I'm waiting for client Angela right there. So it actually just put it in as her first name. But I can go in and check that or test it. Here's the current green label, and there's the member. Now, let's say, for instance, I am like, okay, well, I don't like the fact that it shows just the name. So if we come over here to Zapier, and we can see that it pulled just the name there. So if we come back up here to action, we can actually add the last name as well, or find, let's put a space in between there. Or normally it provides like a first name, last name. Yeah, so opportunity name is Angela Askew right there. So then now if I go down here and I continue and I test that step again, you'll notice when we come over here into Trello, it actually gave us a whole new card, but it has her name on there, and we can just archive this card. But that's basically how that works. And that's how a Zap works. So again, the same information, everything is all the same. It's just a trigger and an action. And that's what everything is going to be on a regular basis, is the trigger and then the action. Now, as far as Canva goes, I'm going to show you kind of a quick Canva. Like I said, I haven't played around too much with Canva, but let's go ahead and switch over here, and I'll turn that back on. One of the things that Canva has is what's called their Magic Studio. And in their Magic Studio, it says use 5 words to describe your design. So I could just put like a YouTube thumbnail, or let's go a senior picture Instagram post. and let's just see what it suggests for us here. So it provides them already built. Of course, it doesn't have any of your information in there specifically, but it gives us templates. They're already sized specifically for Instagram. Let's just say with this one, we could customize this template and we can just create it like that. And then we just bring our own pictures in here. And you got to love all my emojis that I use for stuff. And let's just find a senior picture. Here's a perfect example. And it did it in black and white, but that's kind of like, so then we could go in here, we can just change this to a white color and change what it says down here, and you're done. Like that's kind of how simple and what we're going to call automation in Canva. Last but not least, Leads Pro. Again, I just want to show you guys kind of an how to automate in each of these programs. That one was done a little different. It didn't have the traditional trigger versus action. In Leads Pro, we have our automation system here. And basically what it is we have stuff like keywording options, basically anything you can think of. If you can dream it, you can do it. Let's just start from scratch just so I can show you the basic setup. And here's exactly what we were talking about earlier. Add a new trigger. And basically the trigger can be just as simple as like customer replied, and we give it the data. We want it to be the customer replied contains a phrase, and we'll just go fun. And we're going to add a filter and put reply channel is, actually we need that above. So let's go. The reply channel would be SMS, or you could do Facebook Messenger or Instagram DM. We're just going to go with SMS. So this is your basic keyword marketing automation. And then the filter is going to be the contains phrase fun, and save trigger. And then the action is we're going to reply to that message with an SMS. And we're going to say, "You rock. Thanks for playing." Okay. Now, save action, and we're going to publish it and save it. So now, for one of you guys that are watching this, if you real quickly go to the text message that was sent out, letting you know about this, and just reply to that text message with the word fun. And we're going to come over here just because we can go to conversations, and we can go to, oh shoot, you know what? It's going to be a different text number because I built it in Samuel Martin Photography. So the phone number that if you want to text it just to see how it works, if you text fun to 208-328, let me make sure I get it right because I always mess this up. So 208-328-5263. Oh, just kidding. 295-0388, 5263. That's my 7FP one. So text fun to 208-295-0388. And if you do it, you will get a text message back. It's not going to add you to any lists, but you're going to get a text message back that says, thanks for playing, basically. So if any of you take that challenge, I will appreciate it just so I can show the purpose of this. Actually, I can even do it. So if I just type in fun and hit send, you'll see it pops up over here in a recent. And for some reason, my name in here is Fred McGriff because I've used it as a test. And you can see it already responded back. You rock. Thanks for playing. And that's kind of as easy as an automation is in Leads Pro. And that was just setting up like a keyword text program. Imagine like the possibilities of what you can do with that, because ultimately once people say like reply with fun, you could actually send them a link to your website. You could send them a link to a download. You can do whatever. You can just build automations to your heart's desire. We use them for like asking if they're a parent or a student and what year they graduate. And then we use it for like the tagging, because then we can tag it and market to specific people just based on that information. But I got to be careful about what I'm showing on here, because ultimately YouTube will shut this video down if I do it wrong. So that is automations in all those programs. I hope that it makes sense. I hope it's list hashtag here. Michael, I don't quite understand what you mean by that. List hashtag here. And maybe I missed it just because of when you commented it and I didn't understand the context of what you're talking. So if you could clarify on it, that'd be awesome. But basically, that's kind of the simplicity of automation. Again, the whole reason I'm doing this today is because I want you guys to see that automation really can be easy. I am going to give you a couple of real life stories, like real life things that I use automation for, from the simple to the extreme. I already told you about the CRM to my iPhone, just adding names into my iPhone so that I don't have to look them up. I can just add that information in there, which you can then even create additional automations, because you can daisy chain automations. You can have an automation that works with Zapier, do something to get something into Leads Pro or even 17 Hats, and then from there create an automation that moves forward. And you can really pretty much automate your whole client process with that. It just depends on kind of what you go through. One of the experiences or things that I did for automation was for our escape room. We had a manager working for our escape room who had some life changes came up. Oh, you missed phone number to text. Missed phone number to tag. Oh, to test. Oh, the phone number to test is, I'll put that in here, 208. I think that's what you were asking, was what was the number? 208. I got to look at it again. I don't ever memorize this one. 295 0388. So, and just for fun, we'll go over here and we'll watch as you do it. If I go to conversations here, you'll see as soon as you do that, Michael, it'll pop up right here, and you'll see your text message come through. So, and then you'll get the response from that text message. But so kind of going back to the automation for our escape room, our manager had to leave her job, and we were kind of like, okay, do we want to hire somebody else or pay somebody more to do it, when a lot of the processes were pretty simple and pretty basic. So I took them on, but it was basically about 3 hours a week worth of work. And I just forgot to do it because most of the work had to be done on a Sunday. It's really just kind of going in and moving data over to a Google Sheet, which then updates information and prepares it for blog post, and moves people into Leads Pro so that they get an email letting them know that their picture for the escape room is available, where to find it. The picture was available in the blog post. And so it was kind of really just basic stuff that I built automations for everything, but there was a couple of little things that I couldn't automate because there were programs for the escape room that didn't have any API capability, so I couldn't just automate that stuff. So I recorded a Loom video, and I had my virtual assistant, who was out of Nigeria, and I basically just set him up and I said, okay, here's the 3 tasks I need you to do. I need you to identify this information. And I actually had him set it up through Trello so that he can run reports for me. So he tells me in the Trello card, and he doesn't tell me, I just get a notification when I'm added to the Trello card automatically. And I get a notification that, shoot, I feel bad. I'm sharing your number here. Hopefully nobody sees that. Well, maybe I can gray it out. Anyway, so fun. Sucks trying to do on phone while watching YouTube. Yeah. And so now this may not reply back to you, Michael, just because you on your fun you added ... So that is one of the challenges, but I can actually go into the automation and I can change it to where it uses like anything that has that word in it. I try to be more specific with it just so that but I get this kind of stuff a lot. People text a keyword and add a smiley face or do stuff, but you did a good job. It just has to be just fun. So if you send just fun, it'll work. But anyway, so I brought my virtual assistant in, gave him a couple of tasks, and now the whole process is automated. And guys, it basically, it saved me a lot of money. Just fun. There you go. See, so now it has, even though you added just in there, it still did it because the word fun is on its own and you already got your message back that says you rock. Thanks for playing. So that's kind of, I'm not even showing this yet for you, which is good because that way it doesn't show your phone number. We're good. But you can comment and tell us if you got the response back and if it worked. So I saved myself from paying a manager more money because we really kind of manage the thing ourselves. And my wife does most of the management there. I saved myself 3 hours a week, which is amazing because on my Sundays, I don't like to do anything other than me things. And so that was a huge savings. And honestly, like it's so automated that I suck at the quality control. That's the part where I suck is I really need to go in and double check. But this weekend, I was like, man, I haven't heard from my virtual assistant on this for so long. Like, is he doing his job? And I actually went in and looked, and all the things were check marked. And so I was like, you know what? I need a quality control aspect to this. So I added an automation in Trello just to add me to the card and send me a notification so that was all done. And I had my quality control check in there. And so that's where you can take automations and you can actually improve them so that you keep things in check. But it's literally so automated that the job is done and I don't have to do anything for it. And so it's kind of amazing. Now, a really complex, and I'm going to show you this automation that I've built this week. This is going to kind of be a little overkill for you. And you're going to probably be like, Sam, why did you show us that? I'm going to go into this program. And so this is, I've told you guys that one of my goals this year or for 2024 is to improve my content for my seniors, for you guys, just to be more present. But that comes with a lot of time and a lot of effort. It's something that I've always struggled with. But what I've done is I've set it up to where I can do one thing. I answer one question each week on a video, and it takes all of it through Trello, a program called Airtable, and Dropbox. It takes the question that I choose. It creates a whole marketing kind of outline for that through GPT. It breaks it down into subtopics. Each one of those subtopics are just part of the program, part of the video that I record on Loom, and then it takes it to Dropbox and it splits everything into. So there's a little bit of manual stuff that I do in this, but the majority of the time I've spent probably 10, 15 hours just trying to get all of this stuff in 1 week, just trying to get the majority of it up. And then I get a lot of the work done. And then I'm like, I don't want to take the time to post. And so I've even automated the posting through this. And I have it's creating the blog posts and everything. All I have to do is go in and hit post on it, read through it, and hit post. So the quality control check. It's doing everything for me, with the exception of these couple of little things. And it's allowed me to do the job of a $30,000 assistant, $35,000 assistant, in probably a total of an hour each week, and everything else is for the most part automated. Now this is a new build out, so it's ultimately going to take a little bit of testing and time. It took me all week last week to build it, and there's still a little bit more that I've got to do for it. But my point is that you can literally accomplish huge things with a little bit of effort and be able to really just save yourself a lot of money. And ultimately that's just really all there is to it. You can save yourself a lot of money. For those of you who, I hear this all the time. Oh wow, our time is almost up. I hear this all the time from people, photographers who I'm working with, or when they first start coaching with me. One of the things I hear is, I just need an assistant. I just need an assistant. And here's the thing that I always typically when people are hiring me as a coach, it's not an assistant they just need some management, some automation, those things, and to build out systems that are better so that they can manage their time better or make their time more efficient. And here's what I would say. If you need an assistant, if that is in your head right now, you need an assistant, go make a list of all the tasks that you want an assistant to do. And then look at those things and say, can I automate that? And you might find that instead of an assistant that costs you a lot of money, which I'm not saying that's a bad thing, because Mia was very valuable to me. And I'm just trying to make up for the fact that I don't have her. But the reality is that if you look at it and you say, can I automate that? It could save you a lot of expense. One of the challenges that I had with Mia, she was efficient at what she did. And so one of the struggles that I had was that she was like, okay, what do you want me to do next? And I was like, well, I don't know. So I was, I needed her to get paid a livable wage. And so a lot of times, I just wouldn't have anything for her to do. And of course, she was really good about working on things that didn't just coming up with stuff to do, because she knew that I sucked at giving her tasks to do. Now, one of the things I've learned about that is when you list out those tasks and the things that you need to do, and you create a system behind it, and that's basically what that wireframe was that is just the system for how things work. When you understand that, you can look at it and you can say, okay, I can automate that, I can automate that, and I can automate that. And it might take a system that costs you 10 to 20 hours a week and break it down to maybe 2-3 hours a week. And so if you can save that money is time, and time is money. And that will help you significantly. Guys, I'm not kidding you. If you take a little bit of time, you could probably save 10 to 30 hours a month with some simple automation. And it will free you up for that opportunity cost to be able to make money shooting pictures or doing other things. Honestly, you could save enough time to take a vacation. And most of it you can do all right in Leads Pro. Guys, I would ask if any of you have questions. If you do, jump over to Facebook and grab the link for our Leads Pro open office and come check it out, because that's where I got to go next, and it starts in 1 minute. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this. Have a wonderful day. I will see you again next week, and take care. Peace out, Girl Scout.